Today on UW 360, a mammoth project for a 3D printer to help recreate one of the Northwest's earliest residents. Plus a UW summer camp designed to inspire future pharmacists. Also the little-known story and the unforgettable music of a hidden jewel on the UW campus. Plus talk about a stroke of success. The ancient mariners prove rowing really is the sport of a lifetime. Hi everyone, from the University of Washington, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW 360. Suzanna Darcy-Hennemann was the first female test pilot for the Boeing company. She got her start in aviation right here at the University of Washington. As Stacy Sakamoto reports, Darcy-Hennemann shattered more than a glass ceiling. She broke a world record too.
At the University of Washington, I was in the Aeronautics and Astronautics department, and so I studied everything they had to offer.
Suzanna's always told me she doesn't like to be remembered as a woman who was a test pilot rather than a test pilot who happened to be a woman, because it was her ability that got her to that position.
Suzanna Darcy-Hennemann's career at the Boeing company soared as high as the planes she piloted.
I had long wanted to increase the diversity of our group of test pilots.
Suzanna was an engineer when Brien Wygle met her as he toured the company's training facilities. Wygle learned that she was a private pilot.
I asked her if she was interested, which she was overwhelmingly interested. She was astonished, I suppose.
I was just a girl that wanted to fly. It was that simple. I got offered this amazing opportunity by Brien Wygle.
Not all engineers can make the transition from engineer to test pilot, and likewise, not all pilots can become test pilots because they don't understand the engineering side of the house.
In 2005, she captained the first flight of the 777 LR.
The whole company is with you. Everybody's designed the airplane is with you, hoping for your success. So to do first flight is just an honor because the company is putting their trust in you.
That same year, she led the team that set a world record for distance traveled nonstop by a passenger plane. They flew from Hong Kong to London in just over 22 hours, a record that still stands.
We had a huge jet stream coming across the Pacific. We had a jet stream coming across the US, and we had a third jet stream across the Atlantic. So not only do we hold a record for distance, Hong Kong to London, but we also hold two speed records, one across the US and one across the Atlantic. You cannot plan for that. That was a gift from the universe.
She went on to become Boeing's chief training pilot and head of flight training operations.
I would say that success came from her leadership. She was able to roll her sleeves up when they encountered problems during flight tests, work with the design engineers, come up with practical solutions, and also fixed whatever problem they were trying to fix and created a quality product that delivered, value to our customers.
Suzanna became a role model for women in aerospace and for anyone who aspires to break barriers and achieve their dreams.
And I always said I had the best job in the Boeing company because the CEO does have a lovely view from his office, but mine was from 2,000 to 35,000 feet, flying the most beautiful places in the world in the most beautiful airplanes. And somebody paid me to follow what I was passionate about.
Darcy-Hennemann was recently honored by the UW College of Engineering with a Diamond Award, which honors alumni who've made significant contributions to the field of engineering. Still to come, using 3D printers to create a mammoth-sized replica of an ancient Northwest resident, and meeting the ancient mariners who just keep rowing their way to success, and sharing the story and sounds of a hidden jewel tucked away on campus as UW 360 continues.
The following UW 360 story is made possible by the generous support of BECU. BECU, more than just money.
Welcome back to UW 360. The corner of 45th and 15th in the Seattle U District has been undergoing a huge transformation. That's where the Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture plans to open its new building in 2019, which will include an exhibit that features one of the Northwest's earliest residents. 1 million years ago, long before humans, these were the residents of the Pacific Northwest. Not elephants, but mammoths, 15 feet tall, with gigantic tusks. In 2008, the partial remains of a Columbian mammoth were discovered near Richland, Washington.
It's pretty rare to get a skeleton at all, and we usually don't even call it a skeleton until you have maybe 10% of the bones, so that's not a huge percentage. And when they excavated the mammoth, they got about 20% of the mammoth, maybe 25%. We want to bring a Washington mammoth to exhibit in the Washington State Museum, and so that was important to us.
But just 25% isn't going to get them a whole mammoth.
This is the oversized collection room where a lot of the larger fossils are kept, and a lot of the actual fossils of the Columbia mammoth are stored.
Enter a cross-disciplinary group of UW students and instructors who are working with museum staff to recreate the rest of the Richland mammoth.
And our goal was to digitally scan those and then shrink them or expand them to the right size digitally, and then 3D print them to make up for the fossils that we didn't have. We had people from biology, paleontology, master students in the museology program, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, biomedical engineers, all involved in this program. We had students as part of the College of Engineering's vertically integrated projects program that went from freshman all the way up to PhD on the same team.
There's a whole variety of different engineers in there, and that was really, really exciting because you get to bounce all of these ideas off, and there's people that are good at one thing and there's people that are good at a different thing, and you can kind of bring everyone together and come up with something that's a lot better because you're all there. I think the UW does a really great job at promoting and encouraging these kind of collaborative projects.
This is a 13.5-hour print.
By using 3D technologies, students are able to create replicas with safer, more accurate results.
You can scan and print something, and it's a lot less dangerous to the fossil than traditional molding and casting. Getting digital models, that are accurate to 2/100th of a millimeter means you can have research viable, digital copies that you can send to somebody to look at.
The 2-year project is nearing the finish line. What's next?
From here, as always planned, certain professional dinosaur fabricators or mammoth fabricators will come in and take our work and actually complete the exhibit with it. And then from here, we'll work closely with the College of Engineering and the Burke Museum to see what their next priorities are.
It's been so much fun to work with the students and the professors at the University of Washington because they all have their own expertise and they're able to bring that together and look at things in ways we never would have even thought of. Just as a paleontologist, it's giving me a lot more tools to work with in the collection. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to explore the Burke collections.
A real mammoth had more than 300 bones, which means the museum is creating more than 200 3D printed bones to reconstruct that skeleton. It's just one of the many amazing exhibits you'll be able to see at the new Burke Museum come 2019. For some people, a childhood experience can shape an entire career. For Lake Stevens High School senior Michael Munoz, overcoming a childhood illness drove him to pursue a career in medicine. And the UW School of Pharmacy is giving him a head start on that dream through its summer pharmacy camp. Austin Siedentoff has the story.
And then we'll have a chance to debrief about each.
Lake Stevens High School senior Michael Munoz knows that he's going to help people by going into the field of healthcare.
I want to study specific areas such as oncology, dealing with cancer. We need to X that out now.
Instead of taking it easy, Michael has been attending a program for high school students at the UW School of Pharmacy, where he's been learning firsthand from professors and students the ins and outs of pharmacy.
Some questions you should ask yourself if you're thinking about a career in a health profession is, do you want to take care of patients? We're bringing in high school students because we know that early on in the high school year, students start thinking about what they want to do in their later life after high school in their career.
Well, on one side, I love working with people, and I love the idea that I can directly help someone. But on the other hand, I would love to research for myself and contribute directly to the cause.
Michael's interest in medicine began early. For most of his childhood, he had severe problems eating. He was small for his age and low energy.
I never felt good. I always felt obviously sick. Right before middle school, it was tough for me because I was constantly tired and never had the energy required.
A visit to the allergist revealed that Michael had been living with celiac disease.
It was somewhat frightening knowing that I'd had that for so long and I just never knew. But it was empowering knowing that I could finally control it. I started researching different autoimmune diseases. It got me very interested in pharmacology and the idea that medicine is being created to treat things that change people's lives.
I mean, that's the dream. That's sort of why we do it. We want to go into pharmacy because we want to be able to treat those people. To hear someone that's actually here has gone through that and they're inspired by that, it's why I'm in pharmacy, it's why I'm in healthcare, and it means a lot to me.
It might take a while to become a pharmacist or another healthcare professional, but it's really worth it. In our faculty, we have a number of patents out of the School of Pharmacy.
Peggy Odegaard is the Associate Dean for the School of Pharmacy and has seen firsthand how pharmacists can lead the charge in making a difference in people's lives.
One of the things that the students are seeing and learning about this week is the importance of access to healthcare. And pharmacy as a profession has worked really hard to try and be a factor in improving access to healthcare for the public.
Coming in, I didn't expect the human interaction. I thought they were kind of more just like robots that counted pills, like the generic thing that most people thought.
I just thought it was like you sell this drug over counter at Walgreens or something, but now that I know it's more than that.
So now I kind of understand that it's a big deal is being involved with people as well.
There's always more work and research that can be done every single day, and I want to contribute to that cause now. I definitely see it as my #1 choice for college, and I can't wait to apply.
The UW School of Pharmacy made headlines 20 years ago by allowing people to get immunizations at their neighborhood pharmacies, tremendously increasing people's access to care. And as the School of Pharmacy continues to pioneer new roles for pharmacists across the country, students like Michael will fill them. Regardless of whichever field of medicine Michael chooses to pursue, we know he is going to make a difference. Still ahead, a rowing club for the ages. Meet the ancient mariners who continue to make their mark in the rowing world. Plus the sweet sounds of a hidden jewel here on the UW campus as UW 360 continues. Welcome back to UW 360. The UW's Kane Hall is the main lecture building on campus. There could be nearly 2,000 students there at any one time. And tucked into one corner of that huge building is the Walker Ames Room, which is home to a little-known musical treasure. It's an instrument dedicated to brothers Edmund and Jacques Littlefield, whose gift helped fund the UW School of Music. Professor Carol Terry, who led the fundraising effort, talks about this handcrafted musical device and its significance to the UW and its School of Music.
I'm Carol Terry, and I am Professor of Organ and Harpsichord at the University of Washington School of Music. Seattle is one of the finest cities in the country for the number of instruments and fine instruments that we have here. And students know if they come to the University of Washington, not only will they have a good music school, but they will also have access to various instruments in the community. And they offer the students a wide range of opportunities for their repertoire. Yeah. Because you took time in a tempo rubato over that dominant pedal, you have more time. I had been teaching off campus on many different organs, and it seemed that it was time to get something on campus for the students so they had their own instrument. And then the question was, what kind of organ? I knew I wanted a tracker organ, which means that the connection between the key and the pipe is direct. So when you press on the key, it opens a pallet that allows the air to go in and make the pipe speak. And I knew that the type of instrument that I wanted was a North German Dutch design, and that there were several people in the country that built this kind of instrument. It ended up that we went with Paul Fritz, which was lovely because he's a local builder, and he built this smaller North German Dutch design, which means that you have certain kinds of large sounds that make a combination that can be used for Bach and Buxtehude and Scheidemann and Svelink. And then little solo sounds that can be used for these composers as well. The organ is utilized in a variety of ways. We have the students use the organ for practice. We have this concert series that I developed. We're having people from South Korea. We've had people from England. We've had people from France. My teaching method is a varied one because I use so many different organs in the community in addition to the Littlefield organ. And then sometimes students are actually asked to play weddings or for events. And of course the most famous of the programs is the Halloween concert, where we have people waiting to get in and people dressed in costume and children and adults who just find this to be one of the zaniest and most fun concerts of the year.
If you'd like to hear more from this beautiful instrument, we have a link on our website for more information about the Littlefield Organ Concert Series and other related musical events. Straight ahead, rowing for a lifetime. We'll meet the ancient mariners who prove you're never too old to dip an oar in the water as UW 360 continues. Welcome back to UW 360. We've done stories about University of Washington crew teams over the years, but never about a team like this. These athletes love rowing so much that they continue to do it decades after graduating from the UW. Stacy Sakamoto introduces us to some former Husky rowers who are now part of the Ancient Mariners Rowing Club.
All right, bring it in, guys, if you can, please.
They're awake long before sunrise, a habit ingrained over the years.
So we've piled everyone into an 8 who used to ply the white blade of Washington.
Watch the riggers, heads up.
They're the Ancient Mariners Rowing Club.
Up and roll.
A competitive men's masters rowing team.
All right, let's lean away, walk it down. Watch your oars, heads up.
Based at Seattle's Pocock Rowing Center.
Just angle over to starboard so you're against the wall of the cut.
They're on the water year-round at 5 a.m. twice a week. On Saturdays, they sleep in, and practice starts at 6 a.m.
And it was started by a group that was predominantly Washington rowers. But it started 20 years ago or so.
78-year-old Tom Olson in the black vest and red cap is the oldest.
To my mind, it's the absolute epitome of a team sport, because you can be the strongest guy in the world, but if you're not with the gang, if you're not rowing in synchronization, you aren't going to go anywhere.
When Olson was listed on the freshman roster in 1958, the varsity coach was Al Ulbrichtson. The legendary coach built the Husky crew team and brought home an Olympic gold medal in 1936, as chronicled in the book The Boys in the Boat.
There was maybe part myth around him or what, but there was something about him. He didn't say much, but what he said was very, very meaningful. And he always gave you the sense that maybe the smallest guy out here, but you've got a chance if you work hard enough and do it well.
Olson also remembers George Pocock, who built the Husky racing shells and for whom the Pocock Rowing Center is named.
George Pocock would come out with him periodically, and they would discuss fine points of rowing.
This is race pressure, guys. Not quite race pace.
I'm afraid to quit. I mean, they put up with me, you know. I'm the oldest guy by, I think, at least 4 years, and I just feel if I quit, I don't know what I'd do.
Bill Pitlick, in the gray shirt, rowed for UW 50 years ago, and he's never forgotten what he learned in a Husky boat.
It teaches you so many things about life and life experiences, about working together.
Big finish here, guys.
Doing what you're supposed to do, not trying to do what everybody else is supposed to do. And it taught me a huge amount about how to get along in my life, in my career. You're not going to win every race. You're not going to win every day, but you learn to practice. You learn to work hard. It pays off.
All right, guys, last 250. Driving like a soul.
Their Commodore is one of the youngest members of the team, Lenville O'Donnell, who coaches as well as rows.
Sometimes it's not fun when it's raining and it's bitter cold and it's the middle of the winter and you're soaking wet, but there's an old saying, rowing doesn't have to be fun.
The Ancient Mariners have competed in regattas all over the world. The rowers compete for spots in the boat just as they did in college.
I like the shift, gentlemen.
But they show up for practice, not just to compete, but for the exercise and the camaraderie.
And it's fun to go out with a bunch of sweaty old men at 5 o'clock in the morning. What could be better than that?
The Ancient Mariners have competed and medaled in regattas all over the world, including the Head of the Charles in Boston. And that does it for this edition of UW 360. If you'd like more information on any of the stories you saw today, just head to our website at uwtv.org/UW360. You'll also find us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Carolyn Douglas. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with all new stories from the University of Washington.